And we have with us Toronto artist Lisa Cripps here, and I think this is not even your first time here, right, Lisa?
Oh, for sure. I think I've been on this show once and with Shannon Skinner another time, what was it, 4 years ago?
Probably something like that. That's probably how we met you on Shannon's show.
Yep,
right?
I believe so. That was the day I was actually teaching her how to paint.
Oh, now I remember. Actually, I do remember, and I think, yeah, she painted at least one painting, which I remember.
Shannon painted a painting?
Yeah, Shannon did. Lisa taught her on the show.
So are we all artists, Lisa? Is that... Are we under? They say everybody can sing, and I would have to argue that. But are we all an artist at heart?
I believe we are, because I think we're all just afraid to show it and express ourselves. As Canadians, we have such a strong passion. I'm just taking the Canadian format for the moment, but we're all passionate people, and we all have creative sides, so I believe all of us are artists.
Now, you are an actual commercial artist, correct? I mean, in meaning that you actually have work that you actually put out there for people to buy, and
yes.
You also donate work as well, correct?
Correct.
And what kind of art do you do? There's a ton of different kinds of art.
Well, you know what?
Out there.
We have some samples. Why don't we look at some, right? And we can actually see some samples of Lisa's work.
That'd be great.
And anyway, as soon as we get those
maybe you
up,
can talk a little bit about what you do, like what you like to work with, because there's all different kinds of formats of art.
I work with oils, acrylics. I sometimes do mixed media. Sometimes I get in the mood, I'll even sculpt. It really depends on my mood. I can draw, paint, I sing when I paint.
Okay, here's one. We got one
a bunch of things.
up now. We're going through them quickly. There's one.
Oh, that was one called Hope, done about maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I did that, and I gave that to my stepdaughter, Ainsley.
Okay, so wait, can we go back to that? That is, I just think it's an absolutely beautiful piece, inspirational, and we're just keep going on, so that's okay. We'll just go forward. They're all great pieces. Okay.
I paint how I feel.
Wow. Okay, so what are you using? Is this pastels? What is it?
Faster.
I'm using oils
You're prolific.
sometimes, and I'm using acrylics sometimes. Now, and believe it or not, I was doing this after work and weekends while I was owning a business on Bay Street.
So, okay, you are prolific. That's a lot. How long did it take to come up with that many pieces?
I'd say maybe 4 or 5 years.
That's because there's a lot of detail in a lot of those pictures.
Well, some of them, what's interesting, I find, some of them are representational, or more or less, and some are very abstract.
Exactly.
Right.
Depends on how I feel.
So in other words, if you had a fight with your husband, would that be more abstract?
Yes.
Okay, I think I'm getting this artist thing. They're beautiful, but you also have the spectrum of colors. There's some that are not so colorful and some that are hugely colorful.
I go into different phases when I paint. Sometimes I'm in a calmer mood, and for example, like a recent one called Oblivion, which was the one with the turquoise and the softer tones. I was calmer. I just sold my business, and I was in a calm, quiet, spiritual mood when I painted it. And when I did the birch tree scene.
Is that Oblivion? There?
Yes, that's Oblivion.
Yeah, so.
It's a different type of feeling.
Interesting.
And when I'm highly stressed, I would tend to range for the stronger, harsher colors and more powerful pieces.
Now that makes me think of some of the Canadian artists that we have here in Canada, Morrisseau. He's known for using incredibly brilliant colors that don't always make sense. I look at some of them and they don't make a lot of sense to me in terms of the way he mixes the colors together because they're so stark. But now, from what I understand, he was in a very depressed state when he did that. Does that make sense to you?
It sure does.
Okay. How does that make sense?
Because we need to do something to cheer ourselves up.
Okay.
Painting was a stress release for me. A lot of people do yoga.
Okay.
A lot of people will do other things. For me, it was painting. Music, arts, painting, playing the piano, all that type of work, as well as doing graphics, anything that could get my mind off the day-to-day stress.
Now, does that also reflect the type of painting you create as well, whether or not you do oil or acrylic? Is that based on your mood as well?
Yes, it is. Most of the time, though, I'll do landscapes in oil.
Now, why is that?
Because with the oil base, I can do a little more subtler aspects, and I can blend a lot easier. It takes longer, but the birch trees end up looking quite beautiful in the end. And with the acrylics, I can play with it and play with it and play with it, add textures I want to, and I just like to play around. Sometimes I'll do oils for abstracts as well. It really has to do with the mood.
Now that is a beautiful painting.
Is that a real place, Lisa?
No, none of them are.
Really?
So, see,
No.
okay.
They're all made up in my head.
Wow.
Okay, so I need to ask, that to me looks like a photograph, and that looks like you might have done a painting of a photograph, but you didn't.
No.
How do you, now, have you trained? How do you have such detail? Like it looks real.
Well, I will look at pictures of mountains, but I actually make up different things, and I'm self-taught.
That's amazing. So when you look, that's gorgeous. That is gorgeous, that painting right there. So when you look at scenery, when you look at a picture, or even when you look outside, if you're going to the cottage or whatever, and you're looking outside, are you breaking it down and saying, okay, well, there's the shadow of the tree in the water, and do you kind of separate everything in order to be able to paint that? How do you do that?
I can't even tell you how I do it. Believe it or not, there are times I'll look at something. Of course, I'll have something to look at briefly. I'll say, oh, wait a minute, I want to see how the water reflects here or there. But I generally think of something in my head, and I'll think, well, that would be pretty to go here. I don't draw anything up before I paint, ever.
It stuns me that you haven't had any kind of training, because what I understand, when people train and they do things like shadows or ripples, they have to learn how to merge the colors together to make it look like a shadow or ripples, to kind of bring the painting alive so it doesn't look so flat or one-dimensional.
Trial and error.
Okay.
Lots of mess-ups, lots of fun with it, painting over. But that's the fun of painting. People are so afraid to try things, and that, for me, I'll try it. I'll try anything once, just to see how it works. And if it works out nicely, I'll try it again and, work on it a bit. It's like a cook. If somebody's cooking a lovely meal and they follow a recipe one time if they want to, or they try something and they add something a little different to it, it's the same way with painting. You can always add whatever you want, and if something works, you stick with it. I even one day turned around and started with spray bottles and drips all over the house, and it went all over the floor, and seeing what I could turn around with. Of course, my husband wasn't too pleased with it. But
Yeah.
Well, that's how Jackson Pollock got started.
Oh, that one I wouldn't bring up to Gary. Sorry, Gary.
So do you name your paintings?
Yes, I do.
And is that as much of a creative process as the actual painting itself? Because some of these names don't make sense to me either, where the artists give their paintings.
For me, they make sense. For example, the one that was the softer one, I called it Oblivion.
Now, that actually makes sense to me. That name of that one makes sense to me. If we post any more, do you know the names off by heart? You just
Most of them.
Can we maybe pull one up and you could tell us what it's called?
Sure.
Just
Okay.
for fun.
Oh, really?
Well-
Okay, I'll do that.
Well, no, it's very serious. But,
Okay.
okay, there's one.
Pink peony, pretty straightforward.
What is it called? Pink?
Peony. Pretty
Okay.
straightforward. Panning for Gold. That was actually donated to a charity event.
Okay, that makes total sense. I love that picture.
Internal conflict.
I like this one a lot.
It's a night out on the town.
Is that you, Lisa? Is that?
That
That could be your hair.
Asleep.
Oh my God, that's stunning.
Disconnect. This was just before I was selling the business, right at the tail end.
Oh my goodness, that's beautiful.
Tumultuous.
That one's powerful.
Actually, my lawyer bought that one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Two hearts, one love. The crowd.
Oh, my goodness.
Number 6. That one everyone always asks why I called it that.
There's a 6 in there.
Nope.
But there is a 6
I know.
in there.
It was called that because, believe it or not, it was like you're being caged and in jail, and there used to be a show that was on there, called The Prisoner, and Number 6.
Yeah.
My husband actually came up with that name.
Yeah, that's good. I just saw the first episode of The Prisoner like last week.
And that's where it was named from. I was also ticked off as hell when I painted that.
Oh. Well,
the paintings are stunning, and with the exception of Number 6, all the names make sense to me.
but that one had a 6 in it.
It did, and it also had an I in it.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Lisa. Okay, so now you're about to. We're going to tell people where they can access your work in case they want to commission you for something or to buy some of your works or something like that. But also, aren't you about to launch some sort of online gallery or something like that?
Yes, we are.
Let's talk about your plans for that.
Well, we're in the early stages. We've incorporated, I guess, a year ago, but we never had anything in place until now. We are working at the moment on getting, I suppose, the terms and conditions for artists. We're putting an online gallery together by the name of Studio C at thejunction.ca. What it will entitle is we're bringing in a different range of artists, all Canadian artists, because what we would like to do is aggressively sell, promote them, get them out there, get them known. If you've ever looked, like I'm sure I sent you an email earlier about Wikipedia, there are very few artists that even mention that we're Canadian artists. We're kind of put in the back end of everything. It's like we don't exist unless you've got, of course, as we were talking about earlier, the Group 11 or the Group 7. You could talk about Jean-Paul Riopol. You could talk about Emily Carr. But there are very few in between noticed. And I believe that everyone should have a chance to show their work because Canadians are passionate. They have so much inside them, and we have to get known for what we do. We have to get on an international scale. We have so much talent here. It's a mosaic.
So this online initiative is not about your work. It's about Canadians, all Canadians who want to participate.
Exactly.
That's wonderful. That's it kind of reminds me of the music industry. It's similar to the music industry, with the exception of the few Canadian artists that are known. You don't hear a lot from the independents, so it's almost like the same, the equivalent, right?
Exactly. Well, it's like we also know that Hugh is a great musician, and he has his band out there. I'm sure you understand exactly what I'm talking about as well.
Yeah. Although sometimes, now this is radical thinking, Lisa. If you're open to having a radical conversation about art, but sometimes I think it's almost like, so here we are in the internet age now, right? An online gallery, that's something that wasn't even possible, 20, 30 years ago, right?
True.
And sometimes I think there's too much art. And I don't just mean art, I mean music, too. And as a musician, I can say that. Because it's almost like, what do you do when there's so much art or so much music that the relationship between the artists producing on the one hand and the audience consuming on the other hand kind of inverts?
What does that mean? In what way?
It's like with music. Well, our best example is here at that channel. I don't want to make this my interview, but now, essentially, because when we were kids, we had 3 channels maybe, right?
Yes.
Or 7 if you were lucky. But now we have, for all practical purposes, an infinite amount of channels.
See, what you're talking about is the fact that we see things so often and they don't affect us anymore.
It's almost like there's too much available. We have to, instead of going out there and looking for it, it's almost like we have to keep it away. We have to screen it out.
Very true. That's why you have to have quality.
Well, and to your point, too much music, I would agree, but it's by the same artists. So it's really the same music.
Well, there's a lot of artists that you haven't heard of.
Well, that's I think what Lisa wants to do with the artists on her site. It's about bringing up a bunch of new artists as opposed to the same artist doing a whole bunch of artwork.
Of the same stuff.
Exactly. Something different, because it's needed.
Now, Lisa, so you talk about quality, right? And yet, we're often told beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So how is there how do you, if there's a way, is there a way to objectively measure the quality of art or of a painting?
That's a very good question. I think we had that one before.
Quality.
What we're doing is we have a bunch of people working with us on Studio C, different styles, different natures, different backgrounds. That way we could see who could we basically chosen as one of the gallery artists. If it was me, I would turn around. I have a certain style that I like, and I'm very eclectic as well as an artist. I don't follow a pattern, as we all know. But I have other people involved that will be looking at it objectively, that have an art background and also a business background. It's not just about the gallery owners or the designers, but it's also about the normal, everyday people. You might, for example, like florals in your house. You might like strong abstracts. Somebody else might like landscapes. It depends on what catches the eye. Art is subjective, as we all know.
Yeah.
And if it's just me choosing, it wouldn't be any good.
Yeah, I do not know how you can have some sort of value system for any kind of art, whether that's music, whether that's artistry, whether that's even what is considered beautiful in terms of a human. What is considered a handsome man versus what is considered a beautiful woman is all based on our belief and our culture, where we come from. They've done studies, and they said that before TV and internet came along, and you had the celebrity, and now what Tom Cruise was considered good looking, Brad Pitt's considered good looking. Before the onset of all of that, what was considered good looking were the people in each community's community. Exactly. So if I grew up in my father's Greek, so if I grew up with a bunch of Greeks, I would consider that heritage to be good looking and not somebody who was blonde. Or another, a Swiss person. It's all based on your conditioning. Now with the media, we're told what is good looking. So we're told Brad Pitt is and Angelina Jolie is. And
this brings into the whole idea of art in Canada is all about communities too. If you look at different regions, you have different works. And native work is very different. It's beautiful. Yes. It's undervalued. You have, different parts of Ontario, southern Ontario, you'll see different types of artwork. And this also comes with, as you were saying, with communities. Every community has a different aspect. I was raised with two different cultures, so that's I find everybody attractive.
Well, and I think that's a
Beauty's
true
within
artist.
The heart and soul.
And that would be a true artist, because it's about finding the beauty in every. Are you going to paint something you think is ugly?
I have.
But that's beautiful then.
Exactly. I've done it because it was from my heart and I needed to do something and get it out.
And that's
somebody might find that attractive. Some people like very angry, dark pieces. Some people like bright and cheery pieces.
And how can you measure that? How can you say this one is... How do you say this one is more valuable? How do you even determine a price, actually?
That depends on certain aspects, which actually I'm not the one who could tell you that. That would actually be the partners in the gallery that would talk about that end of it. I'm just the one that goes out there and paints and meets people and tries to promote the artist.
So there's
different areas. We all segregate.
But that is, and that goes to your point too, though, Hugh. When you say, how do you value this and how do you put more value on one or another? If we can't say something is better or worse in terms of art, and that's so subjective, how can we say one is worth more just because people are willing to pay more? Is that how that works?
It depends. Also, I think it has to do with marketing. I think we once discussed that too, where it's who's marketed the most. What about what a little child, I think they were talking about, her work sold where she put her doll pieces together for God knows how much money it was, but it was unbelievable.
Plus there was that elephant that was painting.
You know what I'm talking about. It's all marketing. Have
and
you looked on the Star and the Sun recently or anything like that and looked at what they posted that were worth like $100,000 of art?
Well, remember the whole the Voice of Fire controversy? Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
I mean,
I don't even know.
well, it was a big painting by, who was it?
I can't even remember.
An American artist, famous. Mm-hmm. Anyway, the National Gallery purchased this painting for like a lot of money, $2 million or something. And then some farm. Anyway, there was a big controversy. Why are you painting? Because they showed it. It was called Voice of Fire. That was the name of the painting. And anyway, people were outraged to be spending this much taxpayers' dollars on this abstract piece of. And it was like people, you know. And then some farmer in Ottawa, near Ottawa, painted a his version of the Voice of Fire on his barn, and he said, "Why didn't they pay me $2 million for this?"
Well, exactly.
It's true.
Well, that also shows one thing about us Canadians and Ottawa Valley people have a sense of humor.
Yeah, exactly. Barnett Newman, I think that was his name, the artist.
This is the whole point. It's some of the stuff I wouldn't find attractive.
Yeah.
But the other stuff, I find attractive. I like to see that people have a passion. I think passion makes everything stronger. When you see a piece of work, it's like listening to a beautiful singer. If you can't hear passion in their voice, you're not going to be interested. They could just sound like they're flat. It's like listening to
Britney Spears. Sorry, Britney Spears.
I don't even listen to that. I like jazz and blues.
You know what? I'm just thinking that. The other thing is, too, I think there's a role still in Canada to educate the public about art, because a lot of people still have, they might go to IKEA to buy their art for their walls, right?
True.
Or they might buy reproductions rather than, because there's enough great artists in Canada for everyone to have original Canadian art on their walls.
Exactly.
Right? And support local artists.
I think that's the problem. We don't support our local artists. All we do is support the ones elsewhere.
Yes.
If they're American showing in New York or everywhere else, they're great.
And when they're Canadian, they're our very own.
Well, we're a bunch of, sorry to say, saps.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't fight for ourselves.
No.
And we have more passion and capabilities than most countries. And I know I'm sounding like a political.
See, I'm already converted, Lisa. I'm already on your side with this.
Well, you wouldn't have thought so.
Why?
Because of the challenging of, do we have too much art?
But that's a Hugh thing.
That's just there's a real opportunity there to destroy art.
I've seen it, but I've also seen some gorgeous pieces. I even saw a guy one time just with, believe it or not, chalk, doing a lovely piece on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
But it's a matter of looking for what is beautiful in your heart. Sometimes you can find something attractive, sometimes you won't. You'll just say, I'm sick of it. It's like painting your wall. That was a fun thing, trying to paint my house, trying to determine. The artist couldn't figure out what color to put on our walls.
Well, that's a lot of pressure to be painting your house. I wouldn't know what to do.
Well, it's also, it's reminding me, I'm just thinking, it's how do people buy art, right? Now, people that have a lot of money, maybe they're collectors.
They buy art for the name, for the value.
So it's actually
an
investment.
They might actually make money because that art's going to appreciate, right?
Correct.
And it's a game. It's like any kind of collecting, right? You're into it. You know who the good artists are, the ones that are gaining a certain level of recognition. Other people,
it's about matching their paintings to their decor.
Furniture. Or some people, they just, I really like that painting. God, I have that painting. Right? They're just connect to that for whatever reason.
And some do connect to it. I know a few people that I'm sure my work has matched their places, but the ones who bought my work have turned around and they said, I just like that. And within a few minutes of me sending out an email, I get an email, Lisa, I want to buy that. And that's it. I don't know how they live, what their houses look like or anything. But then other times their work I've kept where I just don't want to sell. That I keep at home.
Do you have anybody that comes to you that says, okay, I'd like you to paint me something? Do you get requests?
I have had requests.
And do you do those?
I have, but I have a harder time with
No kidding.
With the requested works.
'Cause
I
you
can
need
do it if I
inspiration.
know the person.
Yeah, because you need to be inspired, right?
I need to do it from my own feelings. If I have to do some work for somebody else, I found that I get a little rigid.
Oh, well, that would be very nerve-wracking, I would think. Because if I said, okay, I want you to paint something that is about a happy couple. Let's say I want to give it to my friend who's getting married. What does that look like? You know, so how would I even request that? That's, you know...
Well, it can be done. It just you have to put yourself in that thought process. I did a piece for mosaic work, like a few tiles for a mosaic for Queen's University, and it had to do with the Women Recreative Project, which had to deal with abuse of women and in the business place and everywhere else. I had to put myself thinking at the time, even though it was a big, beautiful mosaic in the end, but I was thinking, putting myself in the position, thinking that about being abused.
Okay.
And I had to put myself in that frame of mind to paint it. So it's all a matter of putting yourself into the frame of mind. It's like an actor trying to put himself into a part.
I was just going to say that. It's like, it sounds like you're studying acting.
It
getting into the character.
Is. You have to feel it. That's why when I start a piece, if it's a serene landscape and then something happens, I've had to put it away because if I got back to it, it would change the whole tune of what I wanted to paint originally. It takes away the feeling. And it really has a lot to do with that.
Have you ever had a painting that has not come out the way you wanted it to come out, that you've been disappointed?
Many, many, many times.
Those are the ones she takes and she puts over somebody's head like this.
And they're wearing it.
Those actually, no, I haven't done that one yet, but I have actually painted over it. I've thrown them out. I'm sure some people actually have my artwork on their walls they never had to pay for.
See, that's how I collect
so
art.
We just have to find out where
I go
you
around
live.
and when I see a painting on the sidewalk.
Yeah,
hey, hold on, I did one for you.
I know you did.
You know areas of the city where people go and when it's recycling day, right? These people take their trucks, their pickup trucks, and they drive along, and they just, all these things, the recycling companies and Toronto, the city of Toronto doesn't have a lot to recycle because everybody comes and grabs these things. So we just need to know when are your recycling days in your neighborhood so we can bring our truck, grab the paintings that were the cast-offs from her, and there are gifts.
Oh, cute.
Or you can just go to Lisa's gallery and buy the painting.
Oh, geez. Well, there's
It's
a
probably
concept.
better for the artist.
It
so
would
Lisa,
be.
Now, Lisa, okay, so we've looked at a lot of your paintings here today, and we know that people can go to your website, lisacripps.com.
Correct.
Right, to see some of your work and get in touch with you and that sort of thing. Is there anything specific you can tell people about when the online gallery is going to launch or when the physical gallery is going to launch and where? Can we tell people anything?
At this stage of the game, we're hoping to launch the online gallery by mid-February.
Okay. And will
And
there
the
be...
bricks and mortar gallery, we can't give a specific date at this moment.
Okay. Do you have a website
Yes, I do.
for the online gallery?
Yes.
That's other than lisacripps.com?
Yes, I do.
Okay, what is it?
Studio C at thejunction.ca. It's STUDIO C
Letter C.
AT thejunction.ca.
Okay, we'll put that up in the credits.
Okay.
And
Now, can people contact you to put their work
Yes.
in? Okay.
So artists out there
Yes.
who are resonating.
I'm not sure who's doing what here, Hugh.
Well, it's all working
That's
out.
okay. We're just going to have fun.
Exactly.
So if anybody wants to contact you, do you have an email address?
Yes, I do. They can contact me at lisa@lisacripps.com for the moment.
Okay.
Perfect.
So that's awesome. So for any artist, and this is not just paintings. Is this just paintings or is it sculptures?
Sculptures, even arts and crafts.
Oh,
So
wow.
every aspect of art.
Even if somebody does crystal
Yes.
or
woodworking.
oh, that's amazing.
I want to see it all.
That is awesome.
That's great. I'm going to put my cousin in touch with you.
Perfect.
I think
gonna
you
be
actually
great.
have a few people.
I probably do.
I think we should have a painting party.
Do we get to paint each other?
Sure.
What? Now that would be fun.
Okay, that's
Hey,
going to be
it's
on Jay's show.
That's a form of art too. But
That sure
You know,
is.
what they call body art or something. Yeah.
well, wasn't there was it Pollock or somebody? I can't remember, but I remember seeing something where they actually painted a body and then the body rolled around in the canvas.
Yeah.
Something about that.
Wow, that's Interesting.
Let's do that here. No,
Well, you have enough space.
Well, we do, and we've actually done that body painting stuff here. But we just didn't have them roll around on the canvas.
Well, I don't think you want to ruin your carpet, especially
Yeah,
with what I've done to my living room floors.
Really?
Yes, really. I tried to scour off oil paint and different mediums off the living room floor couldn't get all of it, but for 2-3 days with scrapers and everything else. Yeah. So, of course, I have an area rug covering the area where I couldn't get all the marks off. So it could be a
now
disaster.
do you use tarps or things when you're painting, or do you just...
Well, Valium. or
Valium.
It's like plastic. My husband decided to pick that up, so now with the back studio where I painted it a soft blue and gray tones, I'm putting that on the cherry wood floor.
Okay, good idea.
So that will be there as kind of a subflooring at the moment, so I don't destroy any more of the house.
Yes, because we want to keep our home life a happy home life, right? Your poor husband.
But even if it's not, you can at least turn that into a painting, right, Lisa?
Well, exactly. Half the time I should be a painting because I end up with more paint on me than the canvas.
Well, there's that.
Well, next time that happens, we'll get some canvas and you can roll around on it for us, okay?
Maybe we can have Lisa here and we can do some sort of demonstration painting.
Okay, let's talk about that.
That would be fun. That
For sure.
would be
Actually,
fun.
I'd like to teach people how to paint. Maybe bring a few people in and we get huge canvases and easels and let's do some painting.
We can do
So
that.
we can see the painter in each and every one of us.
Exactly.
The painter in you.
Well, Lisa, this has been great. Thanks for doing this.
awesome.
Great to see you again after a couple of years. And
And you guys go back. I felt like I was a third wheel here.
Oh, no.
No,
Sandra,
earlier, not now, but earlier.
it's like I've known you forever.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank
LisaCripps.com. And we're going to take a little break and come back here, talk about Occupy, talk about money, talk about all kinds of revolutionary and dangerous ideas as Liquid Lunch continues here on thatchannel.com.